Welcome to Wisdom to Wealth. So I'm Whitney Hammond, the owner of Sovereign Wealth Management, and joining me today is Brittany Hammond, all the way from Paris, France, and she is the owner of Untamed Revolution. Good day, Brittany.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. How are you?
Good. Great. I am just sharing this into the Wallet to Wealth group. Bear with us. This is live stream. So really excited to kind of come full circle with the archetypes that we have been talking about over the past few weeks. And I think it's important to say that anytime we're identifying with these archetypes, it's never to feel bad about ourselves, because every archetype is going to have its pros and cons. So today, we are going to look at how you can sort of improve upon what your archetype is and money spending habits. But we would love to know in the comments, if you're watching this live, please say hello. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And if you're brave enough, share with us what your archetype was.
That will help. So let me just jump in here. So whether you are getting started in your investment life, or you are looking to manage your own investments, or you work closely with a financial advisor, Wisdom to Wealth discussions are a roadmap to your life that you want and deserve. We'd like to help you so that you can control your finances versus your finances controlling you. So do you ever wonder why some people have a really good handle on their finances and some people don't? Britt, talk to us about archetypes.
Yeah. So archetypes are essentially, they say there's stereotypes for a reason. There's always some type of truth. So archetypes kind of have similar patterns and habits. And we talked about 9 of them in the past few episodes. And we want to talk today about how you can implement simple changes to go from one archetype to another. Not that some of them are superior or inferior, but we want to get you to a place where you can recognize what your spending habits are, so then you can implement changes and essentially become squirrels. That's what you're talking about. So I wanted to share with a brief story, again, fresh up on the 9 archetypes we've talked about in the past. I kind of had the avoidant princess archetype. So I want to share a quick anecdote. When I had moved to France 10 years ago, I remember transferring money over from my Canadian account to my French account, and I didn't understand the French banking system, so I never looked at my bank account. I had no idea what I was spending. And I remember at the end of my first semester, when I figured out how to open my online banking, first of all, I was surprised because I had spent less money than I thought. But I was in that avoidant archetype where I just didn't want to know. I was just oblivious to it. I just decided to, dig my head into the sand. So obviously that's not a great way to live, because I had a ton of anxiety over it. And over time, I have shifted to what I call the balanced squirrel. So that is someone who still works really, really hard, but they are consistently saving and putting money aside. And I kind of have my own rule of thumb where anytime I am going to make an investment, I will usually make sure I have double the amount in my savings. And so once I became aware of my finances, I could go from the naive princess, open my eyes and track my finances so I could step into a new archetype just by changing my habits and patterns. So Whitney, I'm curious if you experienced in your lifetime changing between archetypes.
Well, I think for myself, I just always was a squirrel and a slave. So I would say that the changes that I've needed to make in my thinking are about feeling that I'm saving, and I don't have enough. And that is a typical definition of a squirrel, because we're saving all the time and we feel like we don't have enough. So for me, I'm at the part of my life where I'm trying to balance my head out to say, it's okay. So that's my story. I know that we are having some technical difficulties here with the screen freezing up. So if anybody would like to type in the comments about what archetype they are, what they want to know more about, we do have what we want to talk about. So we'll carry on. Brittany, you have a couple of questions for me?
Yeah. So I went through the 9 archetypes and I kind of looked at the sub patterns of the patterns. And so I noticed that the money slave, the saboteur, the martyr, sorry, I skipped ahead. The avoidance theme, whether it be the innocent, the avoidant princess, the victim, the fool, the old school type, these types of archetypes have this general theme of being afraid to look at their finance. So why are people afraid to look at their finance? Where does this come from?
Okay, well, anytime there's a lack of knowledge in anything in life, it creates fear. People will have fear. And so then they transcend this fear into a belief pattern. So that can take them to a, victim, saboteur. And then what they do is they build a story around that to justify that. And it's not that we do this in our mind consciously, we do this in our mind subconsciously. So the more knowledge we have, the less fear we have, and then we can move forward.
Yes, I can attest to that, because once I learned how to open my eyes and look at my finances, it was not as scary as I thought. So for the next group of archetypes, which is the money slave, the saboteur, the martyr, I noticed that for them, their challenge is more, how do I balance the time I work? How do I balance and manage my time and money? That seems to be the thing that catches them. So they seem to be able to make money, but not know how to hold on to it, or letting money leak out the drain. So can you speak to us about that?
Absolutely. So we have a tool, and anybody that would like this tool, because we do have people writing in for it, just comment below or send me a private message, and it's a free tool. And what we do is we measure your burn rate. We all need to know what our burn rate is. So your burn rate is your basic amount that you need for your basic necessities. So that's say on this side of the brain. Then there'll be another burn rate, which will add in, some other things that may be vacations and extra, but you need to know what your minimum is. So whether that's $3,000 a month or $5,000 a month, whatever it is. So first of all, to know your burn rate. The second thing is to ask yourself the right question, because many times people will ask themselves the question of, why does this always happen to me? And when we ask a negative question, we attract a negative answer. But if you ask a good question, like, what would I like this picture to be like? What would I like my financial picture to be like? Then all of a sudden, this opens up the door to have many more positive answers, and that will happen. And debt. Here's another one. People will say, well, why am I always in debt? Well, newsflash, we're always in debt. So don't not save because you have a debt, okay? Save while you have a debt. So no matter what your debts are, if you have no money, start saving $25 a month right now, because once you start that pot, you will see the more money will come, and you'll be saving more money. The debt will go down, it'll disappear. Then you might do some more debt later, but that's the first thing is you have to know your burn rate.
I have a little side anecdote on this, and we might take you guys over 10 minutes today, but today I had to pay my Visa, and I have a line of credit that I have to pay off. And this speaks on debt, because I had negative feelings towards this debt. So it made it hard for me psychologically to pay it off, because every time I felt bitter about where I spent that money. So I have this sticky note, and I am committed to paying off my line of credit, not because I'm angry about the investment, but I do it for my own peace of mind. So if you have debt that you feel irritated that you have to pay it off, do it for yourself. and try not to think of any negative consequence of whatever that debt may be. For me, it was a business coach gone wrong, but anyways. So the next archetype, coming into the concept of the squirrel. So every archetype has pros and cons. So the squirrel can sometimes be in, they might be more cautious and calculated and have some fear. But we want to talk about, Whitney, if you can tell us some positive habits of the squirrel that any archetype can implement today.
Okay, sure. So if we just to go back a little bit in my life, is that I started out as a squirrel just at a very young age. So number one is mindset. I already had that mindset. So if you don't have that mindset, we can help you create that mindset. But that's where I came from. So I came from the squirrel archetype and saved and worked all my life. So there's good and healthy in that too. But really a tool to help anybody get to that squirrel archetype would be to, number one, use the tool. Number two, ask for help. Like really ask for help, because people can help. Ask somebody that it has it together. You can mentor with somebody else who has it together, or ask somebody who's out there, like I'm out there. I walk the walk, I talk the talk. Ask me for help. I can give you little tips. And people have been doing that, and I'm fine to spend time to do that. I don't mind. And then ask yourself the right question. What would I like my financial picture to be like? And why? Because financial freedom takes a bunch of stress off of us. Like there's enough stresses in the world. So if you have that in order, and it is very easy to get things in order, and it's just simply fill in that sheet, get your burn rate, know what your expenses are. So your cash flow, there's a cash flow management. This is what I bring in, and this is what goes out. And then I'd like to start saving in some buckets, so that I could buy myself a whatever, car, vacation, cottage, pay off my visa bill, whatever it is. And we start with these little buckets. But once you start putting money into savings, it starts a new habit, and money attracts money. Remember when I told you that probably like 15 or 20 years ago, you and Chanel, if you put money in your account, it will just attract more money. Was I right or was I wrong?
My savings are going up and I'm still paying down my line of credit.
There you go. Keep saving. Keep saving. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for today. Is there anything else, Brittany, that you wanted to add to this?
No, I think that's everything. I would just love to hear from the viewers. If you're watching this, don't be shy. Share in the comments. If you're in the private Wallet to Wealth group, this is a very safe and supportive community, and we can all out ourselves and just embrace that who we are and the fun habits that we can implement. And yeah, that's the point of community.
Yeah, it's all about building, building women up, and we're here to help. And really happy. So we'll see you again in 2 days.
Bye.